Hey friends, I want to thank our sponsor, Raygun. Are you struggling to replicate the bugs and performance issues that your customers are reporting? Plug Raygun into your web and mobile applications right now and diagnose problems in minutes rather than hours. Kiss goodbye having to dig through log files and relying on frustrated users to report issues. Make your software development life so much easier using Raygun's error, crash, and performance monitoring tools. Every software team can create flawless software experiences for their customers with Raygun. Try it free today at raygun.com. That's RAYGUN.com. Hi, this is Scott Hanselman. This is another episode of Hanselman, and today I'm talking with Sean Valentine from the Hidden Genius Project. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Hi, Scott. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm just raising these children, raising these boys, trying to get them to get their heads screwed on straight.
Yeah, I always tell you, as soon as you're done, send me the book so that I can use that playbook to increase my chances of success as well.
I'm telling you, these children are driving me nuts. They're in that tween place where one's 11 and one is 13, and they both have it all figured out, and they don't even need me.
Right? Like as if, they're the first people who were 12 and 13 years old.
That's perfect. That is it. It is the first time that a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old have ever existed, and they came fully formed, ready to go. He wants to get his own apartment and just drive away right now.
I had a young man at 17 tell me recently that he's living this is the best time of his life. Like, this is it. This is it. Yeah, like if he doesn't take advantage of the moment right now, then everything else is over. I almost cried. I literally just dropped a tear right there.
That's adorable. That is adorable.
Isn't it?
So you're dealing with children, with all due respect to the children. I'm sure some of them are older all the time. Tell me about the Hidden Genius Project.
Well, the Hidden Genius Project trains and mentors Black male youth in technology creation, entrepreneurship, and leadership skills to transform their lives and communities. We've been around since 2012. We're an Oakland-based organization with a second site in Richmond, but our demographic typically is Black male youth in the ages, high school ages, rising freshmen to rising juniors. So I see a spectrum of 13-year-olds to 18, 19-year-olds. And again, they all, most if not all, believe that this is it.
How many of them come with it all figured out and they just tolerate you versus how many people are really excited about this and getting involved in both STEM and also technology?
It's funny. We just completed our seventh annual interview day, and every year the students become more and more engaged and excited about STEM related topics, about the space in general. So you have a mixed bag of folks who generally, really want to get in. They probably built their own computers or wanting to. And then you definitely have some folks who are dragged in by their moms, pulling on their earlobes and forcing their hand. And then shout out to those moms because they definitely have the best intentions for those young men.
Yeah, we're trying to find that balance in raising our young men to figure out pushing hard enough that they know there's pressure to achieve, but also finding that internal pressure, that internal thing that tells you that you need to wake up and make it happen today. And we're fighting with right now. It's social media, it's tech, it's video games, it's the very screens that I think will be their bridge to achievement is the screen that is holding them back.
Exactly. I also believe that just seeing where we are in terms of as a mentor at the Hidden Genius Project, we have this unique view of get this viewpoint of this from the students, who they are, who they want to be, who do they think they are, and the relationship between them and their parents. You spoke on things such as video games and social media, and that screen is stopping the thing that should propel them is stopping them. But I think that one thing that's where it should start is just the engagement piece with parents, whether it's healthy conversations, or I find that some parents are afraid of technology. And because it's not a part of their generation, they just shun everything that has to do with technology. And so I always want to say that it's a 50-50, street where we as parents may have to work towards meeting this students or the teens halfway just to kind of get a better understanding of where they are. And so we can help them navigate those spaces. Like we said earlier in the conversation, they believe that this is the first time that life has happened when they, became 12. And they believe that, there's no
Mm-hmm.
connection point between the adults and where they are. It's like you didn't have internet when you when you were a child, so you can't possibly know anything, right? Like Google is really God, and and as long as you just met Google, then and you don't have a relationship with Google, then your word isn't anything. And so, taking a step toward those young people can kind of I think it should be the best start for us as parents and meeting those those young people halfway because honestly they do not know any better.
I think the challenging part is that social media is happening so fast that for us as adults to say that we have it all figured out and that they should listen to us is challenging, right? Like, we
No,
know best? I think we know best.
we
I'm pretty
definitely have
sure
the
I know
best
best, but I could be
intentions.
wrong.
I'm confident in that part. And that's again, going back to faith, showing up where the kids are and learning as much as possible, because then you can kind of see through the information that they're receiving and kind of help them vet out what's real information and what's healthy to pick up and, not so healthy and that should be put down.
Mm-hmm. And how do they decide that? Like, if is this an all things in moderation type of a situation? Like, there's so many times we tell kids no, and it's got to grate on them. It's got to wear on them to be told no so often.
Totally. And then sometimes I'd have to admit, it can be, our inability to, hold some energy left by the end of the day and give enough to fully explain the no. Students and youth are sponges and
Mm-hmm.
they're excited about learning and they want to learn everything. And who are we to set limitations on their ability to grasp information, right?
Yeah.
Um, I always like to bring up this experience for a young teacher. I believe it was Alabama, and no, it was New Orleans. And she taught a class, and they told her that the class was reading at this certain level, and she mixed up their reading level with IQ scores,
Mm-hmm.
and taught the students at like at a high level, maybe two or three levels above what they were scheduled to, not scheduled, but, appropriated this appropriate learning level. And the teacher ended up teaching them two or three levels above that and have no idea that, some of the students were told that, they had maybe a disability here or a challenge there. And it ended up the students were, took on to that level and ran with it. And so, with that being said, like, sometimes we set limitations on, how far our kids can go. And we need to kind of break out of those restrictions to not challenge them, but to uplift them and bring them up so that they're confident with asking us questions. To your point about the no's, everyone gets tired of no. And so you do definitely want to always encourage them to be able to come to you and not just to hear the no, but to learn from you and know that you're a resource.
Well, and then also that we're all just figuring this out as a group, right?
Let's learn together.
Right. And that is a challenging part, though, because there's the strategy of I'm trying to be your friend, which is usually my parenting strategy. And then there's my wife who explicitly starts almost every day with, I am not your friend. So you know what I mean? Like you've probably experienced both of these styles of parenting. You know what I mean? Hey, buddy, I'm your buddy. I'm your friend. Tell me about how's it going at
I'm
school?
certainly the parent who says, Mom said no. If it was for me, but it's not up to me. Mom says no, it's going to be no. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I definitely in moderation and setting the expectations, right? So it's not that there won't be negative outcomes. It's let's explore, let's talk about why, and let's let everyone walk away with a good rationale for the decision that we made.
Doesn't that assume that they have logic, though? Can they process at
I
that
think
high
they
level?
can. I think that at with certain conversations, it just takes us to be more patient as parents, and a lot of it's the work life balance. Again, for us, it could be a lot of different things, but like if we start with patience, they want to understand, right? Some things that will be beyond them, but there are analogies. There's a lot of Harry Potter metaphors and things that we can come up with to bring them up to speed. I have this joke where I ask my kids to listen a little quicker so I don't have to slow down and then that they can catch up. But
Yeah.
honestly, honestly, right? But again, finding that healthy space, there will always be competing interests, right? Because as a parent, we believe that we know what's best for the students or our children. And they believe that there are other, avenues and options that parents haven't even grasp hold of yet because a lot of this and like you said, the social media is so innovating and it's so changing, it's moving, it's going in so many different directions at one time. It's hard to keep up with. But again, establishing healthy relationships with our students and our children would be the best way forward.
Yeah, I'm trying to get them to understand the number one thing that comes up with my sons is I know you don't like this, but I am on your side. Like, if you could just take every decision that I offer you with a little grain of salt and remind yourself that my dad is not trying to hurt me. I'm not trying to cause any trouble here. I'm just trying to keep you alive for as long as possible until you get out the door and then you can get your own place, right? I want you to be happy and healthy. That is always the goal. But I'm still at that tween phase where it's like, you're ruining everything. Yeah.
Exactly.
Whatever
Exactly.
decision I made was the wrong one. But I was like, you guys, can I get a little benefit of the doubt here?
Right? Like playing video games for 8 hours straight, it's just not healthy. It's just not
Mm-hmm.
healthy. Like I understand you're trying to get your coins up.
Oh, the
This is real
coins,
life.
man. The coins.
This is real life. I went and bought a game console and a sports game recently. Years ago, I played the game and I was able to play it enough to where
Mm-hmm.
I was able to earn enough to buy what I needed. Now you have to spend, it has to be 4 to 8 hours a day on a game
Mm-hmm. Right.
just to compete
Grinding.
and get your
Grinding.
coins up and so that
Mm-hmm.
you can have all of these different things. It used to be that the children wanted, the
Mm-hmm.
Jordans on their own feet, right? Or you have a 15-year-old trying to get a tattoo. But now on a video game, I have to give you some money so that you could buy the things on the game and buy the
They want the
tattoos
virtual Jordans, right? I want real kicks and virtual kicks.
and several pairs. Several pairs. Who needs several outfits and skins on a game? This is incredible.
Right.
This is incredible. But Dad, I won't be cool. After opening the game up, I have students all the time and they're engaging. And I had to open it up to understand what was at stake here. Because years ago,
Mm-hmm.
all I had to do was be cool at school, right? I just had to make it through school. But now it's I need to be cool on my social media. I need to be cool at
Mm-hmm.
school and in this virtual space on the game as well. And
Mm-hmm.
not just one game, but all of the trendy games right now. So I
Yeah.
that's an issue. That's a truly an issue. And you and I have talked about addictions prior, but you can see where these things are setting our children up for tough issues that can come up later on in life.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I've been trying to do is use these experiences when they explore something online to pivot to a larger discussion about economics. So for example, my 11-year-old yesterday came to me because he felt pressured to buy some coins in this game today. And I was like, why? It's like, because it's 2 for 1. It's 2 for 1, or it's 30% off, right? It's like, it's gonna cost 30% more tomorrow. And it took about an hour of chatting with him before he figured out that, that they can just arbitrarily raise the prices 30% and then give you a 30% coupon so you feel special. So we had all these examples. We started figuring this out, the Bed Bath & Beyond coupon for 20%. So I was like, everything there is 20% more expensive than it needs to be. And his brain just went oh, they can just do that? Yeah, why not? They can just make a Big Mac and be twice as much, and then they give you a 50% off coupon, and then suddenly you feel special. So we had the larger conversation about economics. Unfortunately, at the very end, he said, but I still want the coins.
The fallacy of thrift. If I remember any fallacy from my economics class in undergrad, the fallacy of thrift stood out to me. The idea that, give you all of these sales, you come in believing that you're gonna Costco. It's the exact one. You go to Costco,
Yeah.
you have your items that you think you're gonna buy, and you come out and you spend way more than you actually thought or intended, and that's it.
Actian Zen Database is the best-in-class, single, secure, scalable architecture for edge data management. It's the perfect solution for software developers who want dedicated application data management and deliver business-critical products and services into OT and low IT environments. Customizable installation, self-tuning, seamless backward compatibility, minimal memory requirements, and exceptionally low support requirements. And better performance than most alternatives like SQLite, all means that you can deliver applications to customers at scale across a wide range of platforms. With direct access from C++, Python, and other popular languages, Zen's simple set of APIs significantly expands the pools of developers capable of building their next business-critical application on Actian Zen. Try it today at actian.com/Zen. That's actian.com/Zen. So here's a funny thing. We are back. This is the first Hansel Minutes in 700 episodes where we each had to go and do stuff with our kids and come back and do the second part, which is beautiful because we're talking about kids and raising kids. So I went to do Taekwondo. What did you do?
We had a split. My daughter does track, and my son plays AAU basketball.
Fantastic. So we're back like 7 hours later.
7 hours later. How'd it go?
Yeah, it went okay. I'm having a situation where the 11-year-old loves Taekwondo, and the 13-year-old was like, if I chew off one of my fingers, do I still have to do Taekwondo?
Oh.
And I'm like, that's a little aggressive, man. Like, yes is the answer to that. And I would rather that you not chew off your finger. I don't know where he got that in his head.
I'd rather you not do that, because there's some other things that we might need that finger for besides Taekwondo. I'm pretty sure.
There really, really are. Yes.
We had to split. My daughter, she tried to do she tried basketball, she tried ballet, she tried hip hop, dance.
Mm.
She did a few things. Listen, she's only 6.
Oh wow.
She's only
active at 6. That's great.
Very. But now she's running track. She's doing the 400 and the long jump, and we're really excited for her. She ran a 6:33 today, and that's 4:8. I think that's 1200. Mm-hmm. 1200. She ran a mile. She ran a mile today. So
that's
4 laps.
6-year-old running a mile. That's amazing.
6 years old. I couldn't run an errand right now.
I'm doing Taekwondo and all these. I forgive me if anyone who's listening does Taekwondo or whatever, but I have not stretched probably in the last 20 years. And, they're trying to get me to kick. And they're like, yeah, kick my hand. And they hold their hand 6 feet up in the air. And I'm like, I don't think that's going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
I'm more of a slap fighter.
Tell me more.
Like stop with the kicking. And then just like, just move my hands really fast. It's like, you know what I mean? Like if there's a problem, like, I don't know where I'm going to have a problem. I mean, I'm grown, but if there's a problem, at the club, wherever I'm at, I will slap you and I will run.
I'm going to give you all these slaps. You're going to get them fast and quick.
I will get fast slaps, right? Like Bruce Lee speed slap and then run.
And you're going to remember the back of my head because
that's all you're going to see.
All you're going to see. So is this a balance? For me, it's a balance. I know we work in the tech space, and we have kids, and I love the balance. I want them to feel the realities of life, and not get caught up in the virtual space. Do you find? I know I find the need. Is it helpful to create the balance by taking them out and getting their hands dirty?
I think it's more than helpful. I think it's absolutely essential. I mean, I actually felt pretty good after the Taekwondo today because I'm the only dad. Like, not to put too fine a point on it, but there's all the dads and moms are lined up on these chairs on the side, and I'm the only one it's literally like a bunch of 6-year-olds, a bunch of 15-year-olds, and me and my sons, and I'm the adult. And the 3 black belt teachers were like, pulled me aside, and they were like, I think it's great you're doing this with your kids. I just didn't want to sit there and check my phone for an hour. It just didn't seem like the right thing to do. So I'm getting exercise this way.
Right. I see. I am the same where I'm almost I'm almost worse because I'm too involved. Like I'm at the practice. I'm telling the coach what play to run. I'm horrible. I'm horrible. So now I just stand outside the door and watch. But I understand. I've seen it.
And whisper the plays under your voice.
Oh, yes, and my son can see me. He's like ducking me through that little small slither window. Like my dad is out there. No, but it's a balance. It's certainly a balance. And as we were talking about earlier, right, meeting our children where they are, right, where they're passionate, where they're showing the excitement, and then the balance. I know, and I hate to chime away at work, but at the Hidden Genius Project, we have a partner team, and through that partnership, we're able to teach sports coding, and it's remarkable to take the passions of sports, right, and match it with the intersectionality between that and technology.
Right. Coding does not have to be a lonely thing. It can be a team thing, pair programming, mob programming, have the whole group work on it as a team. It can be competitive team programming. It can be a joyous thing, just like any team sport.
And, we talk about that, and we talk about like school and how students learn. It's funny. The first PyCon I attended, our students were asked, how do they feel about, coding in these in silos or something to that effect that had the connotation where the students were confused because the question meant that coding meant working by yourself. And
oh no,
right. And so they were like, no, that's not what we do. We work in teams. We've learned in teams. We failed in teams. And this is what the coding is, the community. And in that PyCon, that was like a resounding a buzz. The community of it, everybody can come in, plug in, and be what you want it to be and who you want it to be, as long as you were sharing it and open to the space and open to sharing ideas. And it was like the magic. And our students bought into that magic. And it's funny because school, right, is so like, so great schools are doing it well, are showing how working in community and in groups, how much more productive and engaging and the learning outcomes around it are that much higher when you promote that. And so, we're going back to the Taekwondo, you go back to the community that even though, the parents are on the outside, there's still this sense of community. And this is why we bring our kids to these extracurricular activities, not only, exercise and quick way to put them to bed once we get home. Right. But outside of that, like you're building this community, you're being diligent. You have to overcome a lot of things, even, our inability to reach our toes, but we're going to work at it. We're going to work at that, Scott. Right. And showing our kids that, you can be resilient and the other part is being able to fail in front of them. Right. Because you're not going to be able to do that move that the black belt does, but, showing them that we can work hard too and accomplish our goals and setting those examples.
Do you hear that right there?
I heard that. What was that?
That's my sons upstairs beating on each other.
No, that's not being. They're practicing.
I hope it's practicing. I mean, no one's yelling.
You're certainly getting your money's worth.
I don't know. I do think about the foundation of the house at some point. Like there will be some kind of depreciation.
There it is.
Involved in what is the damage that is being done to my house right now.
Yeah.
One of the things that I was thinking about was that thinking about the way that you're teaching technology to the young men at the Hidden Genius Project. I wonder what, in 10 years, when maybe the 16-year-olds are 26 and they're doing their first startup and they're making the next Facebook or the next Snapchat, will they be a different kind of developer? They won't be necessarily the same kind of the myth of the singular developer, the John Carmack or the Zuckerberg, all alone in a room coding. Maybe you're going to create a new generation of people who work as a team where communication is as important as this myth of being a genius hiding out in a closet with a pizza coding the next great thing.
And it's so part of the culture, we talk about, being culture responsive, and you're raising two young black male boys as well, and so you see that there's a lot of things missing in certain aspects of these children's lives, and within the black community, it's strong. The culture piece and the community piece is strong, and it's been missing for so long, and not missing, just not highlighted and brought to a focal point as a value add to folks' lives. And so this idea of creating a coding community is so natural, is so much more natural for these young men and for the community itself. But in particular, these young men, and they can build these strong bonds. And that's what you'll see within what we'll see in the next 10 years, because we're already seeing it now. We're seeing geniuses out and that are in colleges in Louisiana. We got two in Xavier, for instance, and they're reaching out to geniuses up in New Hampshire at Dartmouth, right? And to work and collaborate on projects together. When you build from the foundation, you build the students up like this, they'll tend to do business like this, and it'll spill over in their lives. And our mission statement includes not only to change themselves, but change their communities. And we're working diligently to create this foundational piece where everything they're doing is within community. They start the day in community, they eat in community, they end the day in community, and we keep them engaged in that way, so that it's a healthy habit that when they create these businesses will be created with these similar foundations and healthy habits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the things that I appreciate about that is that when I was coming up, whether it be in high school or then in university, no one ever sat down and talked to me about personal networking. They never talked about personal networking in the context of building one's own community. They talked about it in a more kind of, for lack of a better word, kind of a slimy Glenn Ross kind of 1980s, build your network so you can be a better salesperson type of a thing. And I recently saw this video from a gentleman named Watson who put together a YouTube, and I'll put it in the show notes, called Building Your Personal Ecosystem, right? When you build a community, you're building an ecosystem of people that you can call upon for support, for forwarding that next resume, or for plugging you in with the next person who's going to move you to the next rung in the ladder of your life. And that's such a more positive way of thinking about things rather than teaching people how to network.
And it's so important that earlier you build that network and that community, the better. We were talking or designing a product for our geniuses now, to help them build their academic networks. And so there's a lot of noise on today's social media tools that, like I'll name them the Snapchats and the Instagrams, where, there's a lot more entertainment, and a student's ability to kind of filter out and get to the meat of it would be so difficult. So how can we bring them together using technology in a space that's healthy? And so we thought to create our own. And so we started building our own platform so that the geniuses can communicate with each other and call on each other for academic support. If I wanted to get some hacks on one of the new games, like, I know that I can call on this network of folks. But if it's about that calculus homework as well, I can call on a network of people that can support. They're all going to take these classes, right? Similar classes from high school through post-secondary matriculation. There are going to be similarities. There are going to be same classes. There's going to be the same homework. There's going to be the same hurdles. And again, creating that network, that academic network early, that's strong, and encouraging them to utilize that network has been like one of the strongest calling cards of the year for us. And building upon that, it's going to be interesting to see how this tool turns out and how they use it.
I would say it has just been in the last year or two of my life and of my career, which is longer than the age of a lot of these young men, that I realized that having that community to call upon for mental health, for wellness, for just understanding, to be able to say, I have an issue, like you said, whether it's calculus or whether it's a thing at work or whether it's just bouncing an idea off somebody. And if you don't have that network, you're not going to have the ability to manage stress, and you're going to feel all alone. And especially if you're entering something like technology, it can be a very isolating experience already. So we don't want young people to feel alone. And we need to make sure that we, as the kind of the old heads in the technology industry, make them feel welcome when they do show up.
Yeah. and it's all around. It's a balance, right? And it goes
Mm-hmm.
back to you getting in there and taking on that class too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meeting them where they are, right? So you can understand and not afraid to walk through those issues as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as parents, and I definitely encourage, we do these play dates, right? But there's so many ways we can, help out and promote these healthy habits and set these teens or any of these young people up for success as quickly as we can. And just understanding that even, it's funny, we're talking about, what our bad experience in life, and a lot of people are always promoting the their trophies or the awards that have happened, the accolades, the things that folks have celebrated about a person. But a lot of times your mistakes can be supportive as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way to navigate through like what not to do. And so if, like you said, if you've just been taking advantage of your network, as of recently, then it would be very incumbent upon you to go ahead and promote your child to build and utilize and get good at following up with their network and keeping their network strong, because it's ultimately what's going to be the differentiator
Yeah. Yeah.
between your success.
And I've talked to actually someone in my life recently encouraged me to think about the difference between being a networker or someone who kind of like tends to their own garden, their personal ecosystem, versus being a transactional networker, which I think is really easy to get into the bad habit of just calling on people when you need them, as opposed to being genuine and checking in on people when you I haven't talked to so and so in a while. I want to actually check on them and see how they're doing and see if I can lift them up in some positive way without actually having anything underneath that.
No, this is true. This is true. This is very true. One of our first field trips in the program has been one of my favorite, and we have one of our corporate partner, Google, and I have a great friend over there, Shayna Simmons, who puts on this workshop on networking, resume building, and just the follow up and the power of the follow up.
Oh man, and the personal note.
And that personal note, not. I mean, an email is great, but if you've ever sent a card, have you ever when's the last time you received a card? Thank you.
So this is the thing where my wife makes me a better person. She is all about the personal note. She's probably writing 4 or 5 handwritten thank you notes a week, and she's got me in that same habit. Just a personal email is great, even a text, but a personalized text. With that, just write that, just perfect animated GIF, or that handwritten note, or that I appreciate you. It goes so far, and not just because we're trying to work the network, but because we genuinely care about other humans.
Because you genuinely care.
Exactly.
And we get so far behind, we've got so far away from it that it's become this thing that folks have used as a transactional type item.
Exactly.
If we get back to, making it something that's regular, something that's part of habitual, then it can be utilized for its true value again. Again, all these things to support, are trying to figure out how to give everything to these young people as quickly as possible so that they can, start on that path. But, some things will stick, and we'll keep praying. And again, I'll keep waiting for your book to come out so that I can follow up.
Yeah, I will eventually get shamed into writing my book. One of the things also that I appreciate about what you're trying to do is set people up for success. You're doing it in a positive way. You've served over 3,500 students since 2012, giving almost 100,000 hours of training. People can check it out at hiddengeniusproject.org. They can donate. If they're in and around the Bay, they can get involved. They can send geniuses your way. They can become a partner. They can volunteer. They can check it all out at hiddengeniusproject.org.
And then you can also hit us on the social media at Hidden Genius Pro.
Hidden Genius Pro. Fantastic. Well, thanks a lot, Sean Valentine, for this fantastic 2-part Handsome Minutes. I appreciate the work that you're doing, and thanks for hanging out with me today.
Thank you so much, guys. It's been a blast.
This has been another episode of Handsome Minutes, and we'll see you again next week.